In the stillness of the night, these volunteers have been heading out in search of rough sleepers. The aim is to talk to people about why they are on the street, connect them with health and community services, and eventually find the most vulnerable a home. This group is covering East Melbourne, but people who live on the street can be hard to even find.
We found some bedding up there, so we left some cards, and we'll come back here tomorrow morning to see if somebody's sleeping there. Doesn't look like it's been slept in tonight.
But in Fitzroy Gardens, they found 4 people who turned this building into a makeshift refuge.
It's a known location for a lot of people to sleep rough. It's very transient, people come and go. They have either mattresses or doonas to lie on, and then blankets or a doona as their cover.
52-year-old Joseph has been living here on and off for a year after a marriage breakdown.
Well, it started off going for a divorce and losing my assets and losing my job. And just one thing led to another, and it just got worse. I used to run a very successful commercial cleaning business, and I just made lots of money. And in less than 10 years, I managed to secure 6 investment properties, and I built up quite a bit of wealth in property. I never actually had any true savings. All my money was tied up, and I got married and had a son, and my ex-wife, she decided and I to split. This is something that I don't choose to do. Just it's something that I've got to. I have no other choice at the moment.
Joseph agreed to be surveyed about his housing history and health, so Melbourne Street to Home can place him on a vulnerability index.
And how many times have you been in the emergency department in the past 3 months? Twice.
When we look at the results of the survey, we do rank people in order, and we prioritise the top 50. That's what we do. And last year when we did this, of the top 50, we've been able to house and support 32 in permanent homes.
The program is a partnership between the not-for-profit group HomeGround, the Salvation Army and the Royal District Nursing Service. Stephen Nash says it's often those most in need who don't come forward to ask for help, like Mark. The 47-year-old's been homeless for 2 years. He's set himself up on Collins Street.
Only fucking sleeping bags, blankets. I picked a swag up the other day, so that's handy to have. It gets cold, so I throw it over me, and it's nice and warm. So, not bad, it's home, that's all.
Most of the 137 people surveyed were men aged between 25 and 55. There was a small number of women, but that number had risen slightly over the past year. The CBD volunteer group even found a 14-year-old girl who had been sleeping in the tent city built by the Occupy Melbourne protest group. The oldest person found was an 89-year-old woman.
Now, the tragedy is that that 89-year-old woman is exposed to violence on the streets, whereas she could very quickly get into housing.
3/4 of people spoken to had mental health issues, and more than half of those surveyed said they'd been victims of assault. Exactly how many people in Australia are homeless is a controversial issue. A 2008 federal government white paper put the figure at about 105,000 and promised to halve homelessness by 2020. But in March, the Australian Bureau of Statistics released a new initial estimate that was drastically lower, putting the figure at around 63,000. Professor Chris Chamberlain co-authored the report that advised the government's 2008 assessment.
Now that there are targets, I think many people, the whole thing has become politicised, and many people now have a vested interest. Some have a vested interest to get the numbers up, and some, such as government, probably have a vested interest to get the numbers down.
There's all sorts of debates about statistics, but this is one way of going out and putting a definite number against a need group out there that's very vulnerable.
And the program seems to be working. Vivian Hopkirk was picked up through the Street to Home initiative last year and now lives in community housing.
The doctors are giving me less than a year to live. I was slowly committing suicide with alcohol. So whereas here I haven't had a drink for months.
He's a writer and poet and spent 15 years going in and out of homelessness. But stable accommodation has turned his life around.
So I'm entering competitions again and getting back into it. So it's this being here allows me to do that.
For those who remain on the street, it's the simple pleasures that get them through.
I walk down the river, I lay down the river in the sun, you know, like an whole day, just lay there all day in the sun. You know. But it's nice and warm, but, you know, it sort of gets into you and warms your body up, you know, makes you feel good.
We seem to look after each other, you know, like when the soup band comes, they might bring me a coffee and wake me up, give me a sandwich, you know, or I might do the same for them, you know, we just look out for each other.